Kyle. He is a rock star. This is the guy. I got so many stories about this guy. Anyway, long story short, he's an out of the box thinker. And really, what was cool to me is he came to me years ago and he had this little tiny recon shop. And he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about doing some things." And he comes from outside of our industry, and nobody told him that what he wanted to do was impossible. So he just went and did it anyway. And today he's crushing it. He's knocking it out of the park. He went from this little tiny shop to today, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Kyle, but I think you got 19 booths, a big building, and the capacity to pump out 5,000 vehicles per month. He's created an absolute monster. My good friend Kyle, welcome, my friend. We're so honored to have you.
Thank you for having me. My name is Kyle Al-Rifai, CEO of Swift Recon here in Oklahoma.
Isn't this great? So, yeah. So, I mean, why don't we just kick this right off with this here? What is your philosophy on the type of work that you're taking in, and what are you focusing on at the shop? Give us a little 30,000-foot view of what that looks like today.
So, as Ryan said, we have very humble beginnings. I come from a manufacturing background, and I stumbled upon the body industry, and I just saw how primitive it was. Things have not been changed for years in the industry. I know just recently with the EV movement and a lot of more organizations coming together to kind of bring it forward, but down to processes, down to the way things have done, it just have not been changed. I saw that there's this gap. There's this gap where people coming into the industry are technicians, and people going out are either big box shops or shops that have been in business for so long. So there's this 20-year gap where nobody really came up with anything new. And I really wanted to fill that gap. So started out with a 2,000 square foot shop with 4 employees in March of 2017. And that's actually when I met Ryan, because we were looking for an easier way to get estimates in through his Booster app. And Ryan was telling me about some of the things he knew in the industry and some bigger shops up north. And I actually visited my first body shop 6 months ago. I've never been to a body shop before. So I've been on this journey. And I think that's why our design is, our approach is a little different, because we know what we know and we don't know what everybody else is doing. So I was actually very surprised to see what was acceptable in that shop. And it was a high performing shop. What was acceptable in that shop. And it blew my mind that there is still a lot of room, more room than I thought to improve on this industry. So the biggest thing for us, our clientele are large fleet customers and just any customer with a large amount of cars that have to be repaired in a timely manner. And that is from Amazon to rental car companies, to construction companies, to government entities, anybody that has a big load of cars that has to be done, and a shop that can handle it like just another day for us. So our current facility boasts 140,000 square feet on 40 acres, and has we actually were designed for 19 booths when we did the first plan. So you are right, but we ended up settling for 15 paint booths.
Okay, well, so this is different than I expected.
Yeah. So
just kidding.
Yeah. So 15 paint booths, 5 lanes, 3 deep. So that's what we're doing at this facility. Custom one-off booths that are 50 feet long, that are 13-foot high, so we can accommodate those transit vans and those bigger vehicles. We have no bottleneck. As I studied the body industry, I saw the biggest bottleneck was paint. That's where every car ends up getting stuck. And I did not want anything to hold us back from height. That's why we made them taller, and so many of them. And if you can bottleneck those 15 booths, then we're printing money. We're doing good. So, so the idea as we
reminds me of my old Mannheim days, the old auto auction days, man, with those tunnel booths.
Yes. So the tunnel booths work great. They're efficient. You can paint more than one vehicle, one bake cycle. And we are embracing the 5S lean process in manufacturing and applying it to the body shop industry. Everything has a place, everything has a purpose. There's an SOP There's organization. You know where the trash can goes. You know where the broom goes. Everything has a shadow. There is always a clean slate every morning to work on these cars. And why we also designed it that way is this shop was designed to be 24/7. So when the second shift takes over, they know where the broom is, they know where the toolbox is, they know where everything is. And really what has caused us to be pushed that way is the constraints of value. Fleet companies don't want to pay retail. You know, the consumer sector is much different than the fleet sector. It's a totally different ballgame. So how do we provide quality? How do we provide quality, speed, and value all in one?
Yeah, I was
And
going to ask you that, how
without
you,
sacrificing that, right? Because usually you
right.
have to give up one, and it's efficiency.
Everybody says you want it fast, you want it right. But
Exactly.
some of us have a different belief.
Well, we found out how to do all three, and that is through efficiency and processes, letting the process work for us and not us work for the process. So when you are that dialed in, where we're literally timing, if we move this cabinet 3 feet on a timer through this process like a factory line, how much time will that save us per vehicle? And how much will that save us across the whole month trying to push out 5,000? We're not at 5,000 yet, but that is our capacity at this location. So how do we bring all this together? And what we did is we threw out common sense out of the window. We don't believe in common sense at Swift. So there's no such thing, because common sense is acquired by experience. So we believe in common experience. And how to achieve that is we created teams. So we have 5 teams, 5 colors in our shop. And from start to finish, from paint to refinish to assembly, there is a common experience being built where the green estimator has built a common experience with the green body team. And then they know where to pick up and where to drop off. And then the body team has created a common experience with the refinish team, and they know where to pick up and drop off, and so forth through assembly. And what happens is you create this well-oiled machine. It's like having 5 shops within our one shop with the 5 teams. And what's nice about having those teams is now you have data. Why is green team more efficient than blue team? Why is orange team using more consumables than the yellow team? So we have all this data to help us immediately decipher where our deficiencies are in the factory line. A car never goes backward in Swift. It never goes backwards. It always goes forward. And you see all these assembly line style, you know, people come in and they feel like they're in a factory, not in a body shop. It's just we're fixing cars, not creating them, and that sort. So.
This is exciting. I mean, honestly, it's just fun talking to this guy. And I know we've got so many shops. I want to take everybody on these calls and go tour, because we got to get to the UK and see John. We got to go see Kyle. I mean, so many cool things out there. And I love that you didn't, you know, you've used your manufacturing background to give a fresh outlook on the collision space. It's truly impressive. So, but how are you, I know it's not like that quality of work you're putting out is exceptional as well, which is, you know, kind of mind boggling when you think about the speed at which you're cranking the cars out. Can you talk a little bit about how you found that balance?
So it all starts with blueprinting, creating a plan for this car. What are we going to do to this car? Every car gets assigned 2 carts when it gets blueprinted. And that is, one is clean parts, we call it, that goes to the assembly area immediately. And then damaged parts, which is then assessed in the parts department, that is mirror matched. And a car is not started till every rivet, every emblem is here. Because once it goes through the process, it's going to go fast. And we don't want anything to hold that car up. And it creates kind of this, when you have an assembly line, it creates this pressure, good pressure on an employee, knowing I can't mess this car up, or I can't give a car that's not complete to refinish, for example, because it's going to stop this line. It's going to back everything up. So everybody has checks and balances. And that's also creating less deficiencies, is in between those handoffs in those stages, there is QCs and there is SOPs to help make sure that car does not move forward unless all criteria is met.
Amazing.
Wow. Yep. So tell me, you've got an exciting future ahead of you. What does this look like for you? What's next, Kyle?
So we just opened up last January. So we've been a year open at this with this concept. We've had a lot of growing and learning pains, as we scaled from 2,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet, now to 140. The big thing for us is creating a robust, well-oiled machine that we can take to other markets. Our next shop design is, we call our 140,000, anything under 150,000 is our mega shops. Our next design is a giga shop. It's 240,000 square feet. It has an output of 15,000 cars a month. So these shops are going to be able to accommodate OEMs with maybe defective cars out of the factory. These are going to be accommodate large, for example, we have one dealership with 200 stores that buys cars all over the states and ships them to Swift, gets them repaired and shipped back out to their dealerships. It's much faster than doing them and separately in different markets because it's consistent. It's the same SOP, and we do it down to the sticker and the tag of their car. So when it hits the lot, it's literally being parked, ready to sell.
Here's a guy that is not fearful of autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep wrecking
They're going to
them.
just drive in his shop 24/7.
And we just got EV. We're a week away from getting EV certified through Rivian and Tesla. And we're going to be able to accommodate all those Rivian Amazon vans. And wow. Our tooling and everything is done. And that's going to open up a new sector for our company where we can accommodate EV vehicles on a large scale, especially those coming out that need attention from the factory, transport damage, any hailstorms where you can call and say, we're going to dump 300-400 cars at your shop. No problem. We have a 3,800 car capacity on our property. So
brilliant. I love it. Well, we're at time, my friend. Kyle. We could listen to you all day. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Everybody give Kyle a big round of applause.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Good stuff.